Hi guys, Olive here, and here today to do something very exciting. Today I am reacting to the Wishbone documentary trailer. Before I get started with that reaction, I do just want to take a brief moment to introduce myself and talk about how I'm connected to Wishbone, what I have to do with Wishbone, just in case you don't know. If you do already know, I've divided this video into chapters and you can skip straight ahead to the reaction if that's what you're interested in seeing. But if you don't know me, if you found your way here, hi, my name is Olive, and from 2019 to 2024, I ran a series here on my channel that I also called What's the Story Wishbone? That's also the name of the documentary. And in my series, I went through every single episode of Wishbone and compared those episodes to the source material. So the books, short stories, plays, myths, legends, folktales, anything and everything they used for source material for Wishbone, I first read and then either watched or rewatched. Since I did love this show as a kid, I had seen many of these episodes before. I then revisited or visited for the first time some of those episodes and compared what they did in the episode to the source material. So I broke down every single episode. It took me 5 years, but I got every single one. As I was doing that project, I heard that they were starting to think about making a documentary about the making of the show, bringing together everyone who was involved in the making of the show to talk about the experience of making it. And they figured there would be an audience because it's still such a cherished show to so many of us, especially those of us who watched it when we were kids, like I did. And I heard that they made a call for submissions of short videos from fans like myself, just talking about what the show has meant to us over the years, what it meant to us back then, the memories we have of it now. So of course I submitted my video, and it was around that time after I submitted my video that I started talking to some people who were involved in the making of this documentary. So I got a little bit of an inside scoop of how things were going, how things were progressing. So I did know that this documentary was in the works. I knew it was pretty far along, and I knew eventually there was going to be a trailer, but I didn't know when it was going to drop. So when the news that the trailer was out finally broke, I was just as surprised as everyone else, just as excited as everyone else. But I have exercised an enormous amount of self-restraint since it dropped because I have not watched it yet. I've been getting tons of messages about it. Have you seen this? Yes, I've seen it, but I wanted to wait and watch it in a reaction video because I spent so many years, made so many videos about Wishbone here on my channel. I thought it would be really fun to sit down and watch it with all of you and give my honest, raw, first-time reaction to what I'm seeing. I'm not sure exactly what's going to be in it. I know it's not going to contain everything that's going to go on to be in the finished documentary. It's just a snippet, just a teaser. But I'm still very excited. Suffice it to say, I have waited long enough at this point. I am so ready to see this trailer, so let's do it.
I don't know if anyone else has attempted to do this much for a children's show before.
His name is Wishbone, and he stars in his own public television series.
It's a show about a remarkable dog who will introduce millions of kids to great books.
And he did just that. He did introduce a lot of books to kids, and to me too. I was still being introduced to books and plays and short stories and myths and legends and folktales by watching the show as an adult and reading all of that source material. I don't remember any of the publicity surrounding Wishbone. I think was a little bit young when the show first premiered in '95. I would have been 5 or 6 years old. So I wasn't watching it until a few years later when it was still on PBS. So it's actually really fun to see all of this publicity when the show must have been first premiering. I've never seen any of this.
Children an excitement for reading.
It was kids and dogs.
The most expressive dog I've ever seen on a camera.
The dog was an actor. You're working with another actor.
Whole group of people that came together to work on something that they had never really done.
It was my first film set. I didn't know what all these people were doing.
I think just by watching some of that behind the scenes footage, you can start to get an idea of just how involved every single episode was. When I would watch the episodes for my series, there would sometimes be these little behind the scenes snippets right at the end of the episode that they would give you a hint of like what all went into making that particular episode, all of the costumes and special effects. And sometimes the actors would sit down and talk. It was just a very brief moment, enough to keep a kid interested just for a very brief period of time. And I am just blown away still to this day how much work every episode was to create. And also, I have to note, it's really nice seeing Wishbone in good quality. All of the footage that I watched and included in my videos for the series is grainy 1990s era footage. So to see Wishbone this clear, it feels like I got new glasses.
Bang. I was so naive.
To go from getting a script to shooting it in 1 week, it sounds impossible.
It was a fast pace.
Because this was unlike anything anybody had done.
We all had the same question, which was, how are we going to do this?
That's Larry Brantley, by the way. That is the voice of Wishbone. He is a very prolific voice actor. He's voiced many different characters. I know he does cons and meetups and that kind of thing. To go from a script to producing one of those in a week, that's just insane. As someone who's now seen every single episode, that's insane.
Hey, Ellen! It's dinner time!
The reason we could do what we did was because that dog could perform.
What if the dog were the real hero in the story?
Miami goes to Wishbone.
How did I not know that it won Emmys? It deserved Emmys. I didn't know it won Emmys. I'm still so mad it only got 2 seasons. I'm still very mad. So that was the trailer for the Wishbone documentary, and I just can't tell you how excited I am to see this film. I'm so excited that Wishbone ever existed. Like, what a gift that was to get as a kid, to be able to watch that while it was still airing. I have always felt so lucky to be born in the era that I was to get this show. It definitely set a great foundation for me as a reader. And I'm glad that when I had that initial little spark of an idea to go back and revisit all the Wishbone episodes and read all the source material to compare to those episodes, I'm glad I followed that. And I'm glad I saw that project through, because I think it set me up then to be able to talk in an educated way about the show, since I knew so much about it at that point. And that led me to be able to talk to some of the people who were involved in the making of this documentary. And they are the same people who were involved in the making of the show back in the day. That's why they're making this documentary, is because they loved this show so much. I feel like love just radiates off of this show. Everyone who was involved with making it, all of us who loved it when it was airing and still love it now. There's just so much love when it comes to this. And I feel like the trailer captured just a little bit of that. You may see a familiar face in this documentary because I believe I have a small cameo in it somewhere. I did submit that initial clip that made them reach out to me in the first place, and I also gave them permission to use any of my YouTube videos that they wanted. I didn't sit down for a formal interview, but I've basically talked about everything I feel about this show right here at my house. So I imagine I'm somewhere in this film. Not very much. I don't believe I'm heavily featured, but to be even slightly associated with this, I am over the moon about it. If you don't know much about Wishbone, or if you're just looking for a little bit of a refresher as you're getting yourself hyped to watch this documentary, I will link my What's the Story Wishbone project playlist below and up in the cards. It contains, of course, all of the episode breakdowns, but at the very end of that playlist is my post-mortem video in which I talked about the project as a whole, my feelings about the show overall, what I think made for a good episode, notable, really good episodes that I highly recommend. So if you want to check out that first, then you could go watch some of the episode breakdowns. I think it gives a pretty good sense of what Wishbone is all about. Also in the description box below, I'm going to be putting links to where you can keep up with news about the documentary. We are not quite at the release date yet, so be sure to check out the website and the social media account that they have, and also the social media of Larry Brantley, one of the producers and the voice of Wishbone. I saw he just very recently posted something on his Instagram saying that there are going to be public broadcasts of the documentary between May 27th and June 9th of 2026. So check your local listings. It may be playing on one of your TV stations, but if it's not, it will be available to rent or own on June 10th. So be sure to keep an eye on their website and their social media profiles for any additional announcements. Not sure if there will be, but if there are, I definitely want to know about it. And if you want to keep up with me on social media, the links to everywhere you can find me, like on my Instagram, but then also Goodreads and the Story Graph, all my links are at the bottom of the description box below. Thanks so much for watching. Thanks for watching the trailer with me. I hope you're having a wonderful day, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.